Thanks everybody for joining us for another episode of The Exchange. We're really excited today because we have a special guest. I want to first introduce Doug Kurkul, who is the Chief Executive Officer for the American Foundry Society. AFS represents more than 800 companies ranging from foundries and industry suppliers to designers, purchasers, consultants, and more. So Doug himself has more than 30 years of business advocacy and association management experience. Some of the things that I noted that I thought were really neat out of your bio there, Doug, was that you were a Reagan appointee at the Department of Energy. You've been a Presidential Management Fellow at the Small Business Administration, and so much more. So I want to thank you for taking the time to sit down with Scott and I today.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
And as I alluded to, we also have Scott here. Scott Harris is our Regional Director at Solex Thermal Science. He's responsible for working directly with clients and agents in Canada, the US, Mexico, as well as both Central and South America. He has really been a guiding force here at Solex in championing our company's efforts within the American metalcasting industry over the past several years. But at a macro level, I asked how Scott describes himself, and he told me that he considers himself a career-long technical sales specialist for electromechanical industrial equipment with extensive experience providing engineered solutions for heat exchangers and energy systems. Scott, I hope I got that right, and thanks for joining us.
You did. It's a mouthful, but we got through it.
We're coming up on AFS's annual forecast, and I'm wondering if you could share some preliminary data on how 2020 is expected to finish, and I think more importantly, looking to that crystal ball and how you feel 2021 is going to shape up.
As we look at 2020 coming to a close, we're estimating that total foundry sales are down probably about 17%. Compared to 2019. Now that's of course compared to a pretty high base. What we have found, we took a survey during the month of November. The number of folks who have a positive outlook right now is running about 50% for the year 2021. There's about 23% that have a neutral outlook. So there's about a quarter of the market that still has a negative outlook for the coming year.
You know, we've actually seen a bit of an uptick. I would call it a nice steady rise. And, it's a very experienced business, but I would say our inquiry level is up, probably 30% over last year. This could be also just an awareness of Solex in the future. As you know, we condition foundry sand, both no-bake and green sand, and the word's just sort of getting out.
Now, Doug, I want to go back to you for a sec. I kind of want to get an understanding of how some of the sentiments from your members, I'm just wondering, kind of put that in context for us.
Right about the beginning of August, a lot of foundries began to see things starting to normalize. Not all, but many foundries did. And so the foundries that responded to this particular survey indicated more optimism than we were seeing certainly over the summer, when a lot of foundries were reporting that inquiries and new orders were both down substantially. We also, had anticipated when the pandemic kicked in during the spring that we would see a larger number of foundry closings during 2020 than past years. We really have not been seeing that. We're a consolidating industry, so typically in a normal year, we'll see in North America, maybe 10 to 15 closures. We're going to be slightly above that, but not much.
And I mean, if you were to look outside of our industry, outside of the foundry industry as well, my finding with America is we've actually had a better year in industrial applications overall in America than we've had in previous years. So I think it's been fairly COVID resistant.
General manufacturing as a whole, has had a historical difficult time in attracting talent to their respective industries. And so, Doug, I want to know, are foundries having similar issues? And, perhaps this is an opportunity to plug AFS and talk a little bit about what AFS is doing in helping respond to that.
Thanks, Jamie. This is absolutely a long-term issue. In fact, way back in the late 1980s during the Reagan administration, There was a labor secretary named William Brock. The Brock Commission projected the labor and skill shortages years before they actually started. What we did find in that November survey too, Jamie, was that we asked the respondents to identify what are the top 3 challenges they're facing. And the skill shortage was number 1. Wow. Nearly 7 out of 10 foundries indicated that they're struggling on the skill shortage front. So American Foundry Society has been addressing this in a number of ways. One is we've got a We Love Metal Casting campaign, and we've got a 4-minute video that shows a lot of younger people, first half of their careers, talking about why they love working in the industry. We participate every year in Manufacturing Day, which that's students and educators. And in this case, it all went virtual, but we provided a lot of resources.
I would say there is definitely, AFS is definitely working well in the sense that they have relayed a culture of nurturing young to participate in the society and to join the industry. And there's lots of awards that go out and grants that go out for budding new and smart college kids to join the industry.
If employment is a top challenge, I have to think another one is going to be regulations around health and safety standards. And one of the top issues that we're hearing on our end is around silica dust. So, Scott, I'm going to throw this to you. Can you elaborate a little bit on what you're hearing as it relates to that?
Respirable crystalline silica dust, apparently, according to OSHA, the site that I just looked at this morning, affects over 2 million Americans. One of the reasons we're focused on that is we do get called up and our solution does minimize RSC dust in foundries, as well as that's sort of as a soft benefit. And I know since 2018, I believe the regulation came out that industries have had to try and deal with this issue. They've been testing themselves. They know they have to self-regulate. They're doing a variety of things to improve their work areas like this.
The average foundry has invested more than $1 million in compliance with the regulation. And many foundries, of course, even significantly higher than that if they're large foundries. More broadly, in terms of regulations, following the election, the Trump administration over the last 4 years, for the most part, has been a little bit less aggressive on the regulatory front, but that's been primarily on the environmental side. And the sense with that administration has been that a lot of environmental protection can be accomplished while still working cooperatively with the industry. So now, with the likelihood that we have a new administration coming in, AFS in the foundry industry, we're going to use a football analogy, and we're going to have to play a little bit more defense in all likelihood on the regulatory front and work with the agencies, hopefully on a collaborative basis, so that any new regulations are incorporating sound science, that there's sound reasoning behind the cost effectiveness of the rules.
I'm going to stay with you, Doug, on this next one. I understand that AFS is celebrating its 125th anniversary next year. Congratulations on that. So I'm going to ask you, over the past 100 years or so, how has the industry changed? And forgive me, I'm going to poke the bear here a little bit, but has your industry reached the peak of metal casting technology? I think I know the answer to that, but I'm going to let you.
So you're right. We go back all the way to 1896. And of course, metal casting has ancient roots that go back centuries even before that. But we certainly are still evolving and adapting innovation on a rapid basis. And that's one of the reasons that we have organized the Foundry Industry 4.0 conference, which is going to be in June. It's the first time we're presenting that conference. It'll be June 8th through 9th in Itasca, Illinois. And it's going to be looking at the broad array of 4.0 technologies and how they relate to metal casting.
And I think everyone is always working on some way to lower costs. And when you can't control anything else, if demand is stable and energy costs are climbing, what things can foundries actually try to control? And productivity and efficiency is one of them that they will try to address.
A big announcement that AFS made just a few weeks ago was that the Metal Casting Congress, which was scheduled to be in Milwaukee, is actually going to be a virtual event. Mm-hmm. And while we all wish that we could be getting together again for a major trade show and conference, this does give us the opportunity to have a state-of-the-art virtual experience. And it's going to be April 12th through the 22nd with dozens of expert presentations. Awards will be presented online. And in addition, some very sophisticated exhibits.
I do want to thank both Scott and Doug for taking the time here as the holidays approach. Be safe, have happy holidays, a safe new year, and we hope to talk to you soon again.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year to all your viewers.